They say your skill makes you a good performer, but your choices make you a good role model, an icon. Being good at something does not automatically make you a good role model. For that, you must show character. You must make the right choices. And a lot of you may not like what I'm going to say next or not agree with it, but it must be said. Tonight, I want to talk about two star performers, excellent at what they do, but let down by the choices they made. Novak Djokovic and Virat Kohli. Neither man needs an introduction. Djokovic is among the greatest players in tennis history. Virat Kohli is among the best batsmen to have played cricket. But over this weekend, both of them suffered a setback. Novak Djokovic was deported from Australia. Entirely his own fault. He refused to take the Wuhan virus vaccine. Australia said no vaccine, no entry. So after a long legal tussle, Djokovic was deported. Earlier today, he arrived in Belgrade, defeated and dejected. Djokovic was the defending champion this year. He was supposed to be playing at centre court today. Instead, he was catching a connecting flight in Dubai. Like I said, entirely his fault. Virat Kohli's setback was different, though. First, his team lost. They lost the Test series against South Africa. India arrived as favourites, but they couldn't beat an inexperienced South Africa. One day later, Kohli posted this message on social media. He said he'd resigned as India's Test captain. And I know these stories are vastly different, the circumstances, the motives, but two things are common. A, the on-court achievements of both players. Djokovic has the joint most number of Grand Slam titles. Kohli is India's most successful Test captain. They're specimens on the field, ruthless, dedicated and successful, and that made them good performers. But what about their values? Well, that's point B. Both men made choices that have derailed their legacy. Djokovic thought he was above everything. Rules applied to others, not to him. He knew the Australian government required vaccination. He knew the Australian Open had a vaccine mandate, but Djokovic did not seem to care. He landed in Melbourne without a jab. What about Virat Kohli? On vaccination, he's a vocal ambassador. On team spirit, not so much. Kohli's attitude to the game was never in doubt. He was brash and in your face. That's who he is. But did his teammates like this approach? According to reports, no, they did not. Some of them were unhappy with Kohli's tactics. They say he was not approachable. Kohli, the skipper, was slowly losing the dressing room. And for a team sport, this can be disastrous. India never won an ICC tournament under Virat Kohli. They won 3 under his predecessor, MS Dhoni. And I'm not saying this is entirely Kohli's fault. I'm saying his leadership probably did not help. Let me give you an example from the last Test match in South Africa. India's appeal for a wicket was overturned by the TV umpire. It was a surprise call, but that's how the game works. Some calls go your way, others don't. Instead of moving on, Virat Kohli did this. He started speaking into the stump microphone. He accused South African broadcasters of rigging the match. Some of his teammates joined in. Imagine if a 10-year-old child was watching this. His hero is Virat Kohli. He's rooting for Team India. And what does he see on the television? His hero throwing a tantrum and making unfounded accusations. I know that perfection is hard to achieve. These athletes are human after all. But when you're a Virat Kohli or a Novak Djokovic, you honestly don't have the luxury of making those mistakes. Your conduct must be perfect. Your words must be positive. If not, your sporting achievements will be diluted. And that's exactly what is happening to Novak Djokovic. He has won 9 Australian Opens. Statistically, it's his best Grand Slam event. This year, he could have made it 10. Instead, his legacy has been tarnished forever. People may or may not remember his 9 tennis titles in Melbourne. But they will definitely remember this. The world number 1 is escorted out of Australia after a 2-week circus. Same for Virat Kohli. People may or may not remember his big overseas victories, but they will definitely remember his fall from grace. So here's what I'm trying to say. Being good at your job is not enough. You must strive to uphold values and lead by example. If millions of people look up to you, you have a moral obligation to do the right thing. That could mean taking a vaccine, or keeping your cool under pressure, or making your teammates feel positive. Unfortunately, not all modern-day greats understand this. The choice is up to you, though. Do you want to be a superstar athlete with questionable values, or an average athlete with impeccable integrity? WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.